Yes. Yes يا شباب.
Yes, understood. So the first two will be a normal circle.
Usually is a stop, right?
Yes, yes.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, R2 sine theta and R2 cosine theta will be a normal circle.
Yes. Normal circle. So the first one, R2 sine theta and R cosine theta, it's correct. It will be a normal circle. And the sine on the
Y-axis
the
and cosine on
y-axis.
the x. So number 3 is R2 cosine theta.
Excellent. Yeah, where is the normal circles? Normal circles.
See numbers.
3 and 3, right?
There's number, yes, and
3,
5 and
because
6.
it's
And 6, there's 6 in another page.
yeah. So number 3 is on the x-axis, right? Positive part of the x-axis. So it's a cosine.
Yes,
So it's R equals
2 cosine theta.
2 cosine theta. Right. So we finished the number 3. R equals 2 sine theta is number 6.
Number
2
6.
sine theta is number 6. Okay, R equals 1 plus sine theta and 1 minus sine theta. خلينا الأول في الروز. Rows curves. The rows curves. What? The
R
rows
equal
curves.
3. Yes.
R equals 3 sine 2 theta and R equals 3 sine 3 theta. You can now guys say R sine 3 sine.
Yes. R equal 3 sine 2 theta will be number 2 because we have it even.
Petals?
It will be circle number 4.
Yes, n equals 2, which is even. So we have how many petals?
4. 4.
4 petals. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4. And here 1, 2, 3 only. So this equation is simple and easy, right? R
Yes.
equals number 2, 3
3
sine 2
3.
theta.
2 theta. Yes. And 3 sine 3 theta is number 5.
3 sine. R equals 3 sine
3
3,
theta.
which is
Yes.
number 5, because it has 3 petals. Yes, for 1 plus sine theta and 1 minus sine theta, here question 4 and question 1 and 4, right?
1 and 4, yes.
What's the ratio in the first equation here? R equals
Equal
1 plus sine theta. Pay attention, guys. A is 1 and B is 1. The ratio is 1.
1.
Which is between 1 and 2, right? 1 over 1 is 1. So is it dimpled or inner loop or convex or what? It's a Limousin equation, right? Limousin curve, اللي هو R equals 1 plus sine theta, 1 minus sine theta. So number 1, A minus A, it's 0. Okay. And also here it's what? 1 minus 1, it's 0. But one of them will be positive and the other is negative. That's it. Yani, both equations are the same. The one that is down, 1 minus sine theta, right? R equals 1 minus sine theta. Here in question 1. And here R equals 1 plus sine theta in number 4. So check your homework, please, guys. Check your homework. So this is your homework, guys. From 1 to 6, you have to match each equation with its correct graph. The first equation, أو خلينا نقول number 1 is R equals 1 minus sine theta. Number 2, R equals 3 sine 2 theta. Since we have even in here, so we have 4 petals. نروح لنمبر 3, R equals 2 cosine theta because it's a normal circle on the x-axis because it's a cosine and positive. And number 4, R equals 1 plus sine theta. It's up here because it's a plus. 1 minus sine theta, it's down. it's dimpled, right? And then 5, which is r equals 3 sine.
Mister,
It's dimpled, or a over b equals
car,
1 cardioid.
cardioid.
Yes,
Yes,
yes, it's what?
cardioid.
Cardioid. And this one also is what? Cardioid. Okay. Hello. And this one is what? Is rose.
Rose
One
and
is normal circle.
circle.
And this one here is circle.
Circle
And here
and
it's
rose.
rose. Yeah, and it's even for it has. Let's move on, guys, to exercise 7 to 12. Test your symmetry with respect to the polar axis and the line theta equals pi over 2 and the pole. So I will move back. I'll try to find here a table like this one, which is empty. Yes, this one. Yes, هناخد هذا الشيء. Where's the exercise? Yes, from 7 to 12. It's best it's here. We will use this table to solve these questions. Yeah. In the exercise set from 7 to 12, I would like to check or test the symmetry of the equations. Here, help. Number 7, Muhammad Faris. Muhammad Faris, number 7. Test the symmetry with respect to the polar axis for this equation number 7. For the polar axis, I said that we have to convert every theta by negative theta, right?
Yes.
Yes. So replacing the r. Yes.
We will replace the R.
No, leave the r the same.
Yes,
Now
and
to
it will
replace
be sine negative theta.
r equals negative now, sine theta,
Negative
since the
sine
sine
theta.
is odd.
Yes.
So is it equivalent?
Yes.
Equivalent? Yani negative sine theta is the same as sine theta. These two equations, r equals sine theta is equal to this equation. Equivalent? Like what? Like sine 60. Like sine 30 is half, and sine 30 is half by negative, could be negative half is the same as half. And if we graph r equals half or r equals negative half, gonna give us the same, what? The same thing, right?
Yes.
But start different starting points, so it's a symmetry.
Symmetric.
Test the symmetry with respect to the line theta equals pi over 2. Pi over 2, we replace every r by negative r, and replacing also here the theta by negative
By
theta.
pi over.
By negative theta. No.
Yes,
وأصل
yes.
the line theta by over
Yes,
2
yes.
means y-axis. Means a symmetry with respect to the
Y-axis.
y-axis. اسمه هنا في البولار system اسمه pi over 2. Theta equals pi over 2. The same as y-axis. So replacing the r by negative r. This all in question 7, guys, only.
Negative R. Sine negative theta.
Okay, so negative r equals the same negative sine theta.
Negative
Since
sine theta.
is odd
Yes.
function. Dividing each side by negative gives
Negative
the
R
same.
equals sine theta.
Yeah, so it's also what?
Symmetry.
It's symmetric with respect to the line theta equals pi over 2. Okay, right. The pole. The pole, we replace only r by negative r equals sine.
Negative R equals sine theta.
Yes, and then dividing by negative gives r.
Divide by negative.
Gives
R
negative
equal
sine
sine
theta.
theta. Yes.
Which is also what?
Symmetry.
Symmetry. This is an example, okay? Thank you, Mohammed. One more example. Let's pick, for example, 12. Question 12. I'm going to solve selected problems in the set of exercises 7 to 12. We have to test for symmetry with respect to the polar axis and the line theta equals pi over 2 and the pole. Number 12, the equation is r squared equals 16 sine 2 theta. Yes, Khalid. Khalid, what? Absent. Yes, yes, Amjad. Safe Amjad. Safe Amjad. طيب, until you fix your mic or solve your problem, شوف Omar Hammam how to test the symmetry with respect to the polar axis of r squared equals 16 sine 2 theta. Yes. First of all, when it's polar axis, I'm going to replace this theta by what? By negative theta. And cosine is negative, so directly your answer is r squared equals 16. Wake up, guys. Sine 2 times the negative theta. And now r squared equals 16 negative sine 2 theta. Negative sine 2 theta. So r squared equals, طبعا هذا multiplied by, because sine is negative sine, negative function, sorry, odd function, بتطلع النيجاتيف inside اللي جواها الانجل. Yes, سيف. Negative 16 sine 2 theta, which is not symmetric with respect to the polar axis. With the line theta equals pi over 2, we replace r by negative r and replacing also the theta by negative theta. So we have 16 sine it is 2 and replace the theta by negative theta. Negative r all to the power of 2 and squaring it gives r squared, and then here negative 16 sine 2 theta. Because the sine is odd function, so sine a negative angle is the same is negative sine the angle. Eject the sign outside. R squared equals negative 16 sine 2 theta. Is it symmetric? No. With the pole, guys, we're gonna replace only the r by negative r. So negative r squared equals 16 sine 2 theta. And now it's r squared equals 16 sine 2 theta. How to determine if it's symmetric or not? If it's given the equivalent form, the same as the original equation. Your result here, r squared equals 16 sine 2 theta, which is exactly the same as the original. So it's now symmetric only. It's symmetric only, guys, about the pole. So now for this kind of equation questions, guys, we dig test for symmetry with respect to the polar axis, the y-axis, the line theta equals pi over 2, or the pole. We replace for the polar axis, we replace every we replace every theta by negative theta. Okay, and the line theta equals pi over 2, we replace every r by negative r, and we replace every theta by negative theta. For the pole, we replace only the r by negative r. Okay.
Mister, can you solve question 9?
Question 9. Yes, r equals 4 plus 3 cosine theta. Question 9. R equals 4 plus 3 cosine theta. To test for symmetry here, who's asking? نواف?
محمد كيالي.
محمد كيالي. طيب. the pole. Let's start first to test the symmetry with the pole. The pole here replacing every theta by negative theta. If R equals 4 plus 3 cosine negative theta. Now R equals 4 plus 3 cosine theta. Why? Where is the negative? Yeah, habibi, cosine negative theta is even. Cosine even function. Cosine negative theta is the same as cosine the theta. So gives us here now an equivalent form the original function. So it's what? Symmetric. Yeah, and this one is lemniscate or Limison equation or curves of polar equations.
Yeah.
Yes, guys, R equals A plus minus B cosine theta. Is it Limison or lemniscate?
Limison.
Limison. لو lemniscate, it's symmetric.
R
The
squared.
cosine
R squared.
R squared lemniscate. So it's all for sine it's symmetric about the pole only. For the cosine, if it's lemniscate like the last one, it's symmetric about all. If it's a cosine. But when it's a sine and the lemniscate R squared يعني equals A squared sine 2 theta, symmetric about the pole only. لو cosine it's symmetric about the 3. Here Limison. Okay, so how to find برضه تاني اللي هو polar axis, which is the x-axis in the rectangular coordinate plane. We replace the pole. No, this is the polar axis, the first one, right? Yeah.
Yes, and the second one polar.
The second one, let's say
Pole. The pole.
Yeah, guys, when you change the theta only by negative theta, it's the polar axis. Okay, let's do for the pole by replacing the r by negative r.
Yes.
4 plus cosine theta,
Yes.
dividing by
R equals negative 4
negative cosine theta. If we graph these two equations, they are equivalent.
Mr. 4 plus 3 cosine theta. Forget the 3. Yes.
If we graph here these two equations, it gives you the same. Yeah. So it's symmetric. And try, guys, to graph these two equations. Negative r equals 4 plus 3. Graph here this equation. R equals 4 plus 3 cosine and r equals negative 4 negative 3. Cosine gives you the same graph. For the line, to check the symmetry with respect to the line, theta equals pi over 2 أو هو the y-axis on the rectangular system, coordinate system, you have to replace the r by negative r and replacing the theta by also negative theta. And the left side gives a negative r, and the right side it's 4 plus cosine 3 also, I forgot it, 3 cosine theta, since cosine is even function. Dividing by r, by negative 1, gives r equals negative 4 negative 3 cosine what? Theta, which is also what? May or may not symmetric. You say like this, may or may not. Okay, and this also you should say may not. Yeah, you can say may or may not symmetric, and here may or may not symmetric about the line. Okay. Any questions? Any questions?
No.
Okay, so
Sorry, but I didn't understand it.
which part?
The same question. I didn't understand it well.
This question was asked محمد كاري.
لا خالد وائل.
Yes, خالد كنت فين متأخر؟